everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Review. How are you? Today we're reviewing Netflix's Can This Love Be Translated? A series most of us have been looking forward to watching for quite some time. I feel that it is a bit difficult to discuss Can This Love Be Translated without spoiling some major plot points. So here's a quick warning. This review contains spoilers, okay? So the first thing we need to talk about is that technically speaking, Can This Love Be Translated isn't a classic rom-com, but a romantic psychological drama. Can This Love Be Translated isn't a story about two people who meet cute and fall in love, but about a kind and persistent young woman whose traumas come to the surface through a non-specified mental illness. We follow her on a journey in which she has to overcome adversity, letting go of her self-loathing and insecurity to live a more fulfilled life. Banking on an exceptional cast and stunning locations, Can This Love Be Translated starts as an emotionally layered, allegorical tale about self-worth and communication. However, the series stumbles in the execution of its narrative, losing track of its objective to offer a glamorized portrayal of mental health disorders through a convoluted sequence of events. Please don't hate me, I'm not saying Can This Love Be Translated is a bad show, I'm just saying it's flawed. Let me explain before you hate me forever. Can This Love Be Translated is the story of Cha Moo-hee, played by Go Youn-jung, an aspiring actress with a few small roles to her name. While on a trip to Japan, she has a fleeting encounter with multilingual interpreter Joo Ho-jin, played by Kim Song-ho, whom she can't get out of her mind even after she returns to Korea. Her next role as the protagonist of the offbeat horror flick The Quiet Woman changes her life forever. Her character, Dorami, becomes a worldwide sensation, and overnight, Moo-hee turns into a superstar. She's rich, famous, beloved. Serendipitous encounters blend in with these characters' free will as Moo-hee's and Ho-jin's paths cross over and over and over again until they both join a new project called Romantic Trip. Moo-hee is to travel the world with Japan's Prince of Romance Kurosawa Hiro, played by Fukushi Sota, and Ho-jin, who speaks Korean, Japanese, English and Italian fluently, will serve as the production's interpreter. For the first 6 episodes, Moo-hee and Ho-jin get to know each other through fairly standard rom-com fare. As their every step brings them closer, falling in love becomes a joyful, adorable, and butterfly-inducing endeavor. They make for an incredibly charming couple, and it's addictive to see Kim and Go performing together. Slowly, Can This Love Be Translated becomes an alluring dance between two souls who yearn to be loved and struggle to communicate despite sharing the same language. The narrative is then built through a series of events and conflicts that always arise from misunderstandings and misinterpretations. In its first half, Can This Love Be Translated allows every single element and exchange to reflect its core theme, communication. This nuance of saying one thing but meaning another, of understanding others through our own perspective of the world, of learning each other's unique language, is carefully and earnestly conveyed through a story that allows its characters to be vulnerable. Ho-jin is blunt without ever being callous, while Moo-hee is lonely and anxious without ever losing her resilience. Even when they fail to convey what they truly want and feel, it's Ho-jin's kind fairness and Moo-hee's charming candor that establish a warm, tender tone that counteracts Moo-hee's eerily low self-esteem. From the very beginning, Moo-hee is shown as a young woman who shoulders the pain of abandonment and loss and ostracism. After her big breakthrough, Moo-hee is forced to reconcile her sorrows with the fact that she's now beloved by many. This contrast between her dark inner world and her bright external environment quietly punctuates the narrative throughout its first half, as Muhi starts hallucinating Dorami. Like a ghost, Rami constantly haunts the now famous and cherished Muhi, telling her that she isn't worthy of love, that she isn't good enough, and that she's meant to be a lonely failure forever. With these hallucinations, Can This Love Be Translated breaks away from the rom-com genre and makes its way towards a more human drama. Ho-jin then serves as an almost supporting character who helps Muhi, the real protagonist, complete her character arc. Initially, the Dorami hallucinations serve as a clever and compelling allegory for negative self-talk, a visual illustration of the little monster that lives within us all and casts doubts on our self-worth and self-confidence. And so, Can This Love Be Translated establishes itself as the journey of a young woman who needs to defeat that pesky little monster and prove to herself that yes, she is worthy of love, and yes, she is capable of chasing her own dreams, and yes, she's definitely good enough. However, the allegory is thrown out of the window when Rami stops being a hallucination and becomes Muhi's alter ego. This is never openly discussed in the series, but Muhi has, or well, so we guess, Muhi has dissociative identity disorder, which leads to sudden shifts between these two identities. The thing is, considering Muhi's background and characterization, this dissociative identity disorder doesn't really fit in the narrative. Mental disorders for Can This Love Be Translated are nothing but a plot device, which is then romanticized as being another one of Muhi's quirky traits. Muhi starts using her Rami personality when she's scared of facing reality, switching it on and off as the script requires. Meanwhile, Rami drugs people, burns through Muhi's credit card, and gives the middle finger to Muhi's awful relatives. Does anyone care? Not really. Unbelievably, this unexpectedly chaotic, naughty, but considerably more self-assured persona doesn't raise any flags. Except for Ho-jin, no one else realizes that Muhi isn't really Muhi anymore. From the end of episode 7 onwards, the story is dictated by the whims of Muhi's alter ego. The rhythm is now set by Rami, who strips all characters of their agency and takes on the role of Deus Ex Machina in this narrative. Instead of making their own choices, Ho-jin, Muhi, and even Hiro are forced to dance to Rami's tune, as she determines what would work best for everyone. The momentum that had been built in the first half simply fizzles out. The communication theme becomes background noise, and the relationship between Ho-jin and Muhi becomes an angsty push and pull that unravels with the sensationalism of a Mak-jung melodrama. Muhi's mental health is never explored with the care and compassion required. She's never seen receiving a diagnosis or following any sort of treatment, or even being encouraged to ask for help. There is no need for that, of course, because love cures all. After Ho-jin and Muhi get together, Rami simply disappears. No more identity shifts, no more hallucinations, no more lack of self-esteem. Towards the end of the series, Ho-jin and Muhi laugh at her alter ego, with Ho-jin saying that he's used to her antics and calling Rami the wonderful interpreter he needed to help him understand Muhi's language. Can This Love Be Translated then transforms a mental disorder into a fantasy element, a whimsical idiosyncrasy that offers the plot, all the twists and turns, the romantic revelations, and the closure it desired. The more you try to analyze it, the more loose ends and questions are bound to arise. Besides Rami's influence in the narrative in the second half, the script also starts relying more and more on contrived events and silly stereotypes. The Japan-Korea relationship that could have been explored with Hiro's presence in the narrative is never even mentioned, and the whole multicultural vibe quietly lives in the shadows of the show's main melodrama. The overall structure ends up repetitive, bloated and mechanical. The thematic objective becomes jumbled. But the best thing about Can This Love Be Translated is, without a doubt, Kim Sung-ho and Go Youn-jung. Kim and Go inhabit their characters, offering the script the subtlety it often lacks. Kim's ability to navigate a romance is remarkable. The gentleness and yearning in his gaze are unparalleled. His delivery is so full of detail and care and sheer charisma that it becomes an absolute joy to watch him bring Ho-jin to life. With her dual role, Go surprises and honestly amazes. She gives Moo-hee and Rami two very different personalities in a performance full of heart and vigor. So the final question is, should you watch Can This Love Be Translated? Can This Love Be Translated is best enjoyed as it is, a messy psychological drama whose protagonists just happen to fall in love. What makes Can This Love Be Translated worth a watch is the simplicity of Ho-jin and Moo-hee's dilemmas as they come to realize that love is all about striving to learn each other's unique language. I think that if you take this narrative at face value and accept the show's portrayal of mental health as a mere fantastical element, you will find an optimistic and often entertaining story led by two hugely charismatic performers who show us a bit of the beauty this world of ours has to offer. Can This Love Be Translated is now available on Netflix. Guys, I need to confess that I am a huge Kim Sung-ho fan, so for me it was a very interesting experience, this process of analyzing and reviewing Can This Love Be Translated, because I had to separate the reviewer in me from the fan who was so full of expectations and full of joy to see him back into this more romantic universe. So I actually wrote a very long analysis on Can This Love Be Translated that you can now find on the Blossom Review. And over on Substack this week, we reviewed Netflix's The Great Flood. So I'll leave all the links in the description if you guys want to give them a read. Guys, I really hope that you share your own thoughts and ideas on Can This Love Be Translated in the comments, and I really hope that you like this video and you subscribe so I can see you here every week for a new review. Guys, thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day today. Take very good care of yourself and stay safe. Okay? Thank you so much. Bye bye.